Hello, everyone. Hope everybody can hear us. Steve Stallard with Johnson Plastics Plus. I'm joined with Jackie.
Hello.
And we are here today to discuss the new Epson F570 PE. And also, welcome to our first webinar of the year.
Yeah.
So we are maybe a little bit rusty. So if we have any technical issues or I bumble over my words, just bear with us.
Be kind.
Yes, exactly. So let's get started with a few house cleaning tips and make sure everybody can see and hear us and all that good stuff. Just here, really get familiar with your GoToWebinar control panel. Remember, sometimes you might not be able to hear us, just simply restarting it, calling in versus your computer audio. Also with your cell phone, I always forget this. I think you have to swipe a certain way, George, correct?
Yeah, we'll be staying on pretty much two cameras today, so you'll have the PowerPoint and the camera. But yes, if you're only seeing, you're not seeing the screen, you're only seeing the PowerPoint, swipe up. That'll swipe between the two cameras.
Perfect. And again, as always with all our webinars, we have a bunch of our friendly staff here to answer your questions. So feel free to fire those in. We'll answer questions as we go, and depending on how many questions they are, we'll be sure to get back to you too. So. Let's go ahead and get started. I don't think we have any questions for you, but we've got a little bit of a PowerPoint here to go over some of these new differences. Jackie's also going to talk a lot about sublimation blanks, because listen, you buy your printer, you got to buy blanks, and we've got them all here for you.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure we cover all that good stuff.
And speaking of sublimation blanks, there will be a giveaway at the end of the webinar. So there'll be 5 lucky winners. So stick around to see what that is. So just want to put that little plug in for our giveaway.
Perfect. And we're going to do a demo too at the end of this webinar here, just to, again, maybe you're new to sublimation. Maybe some of you here have an F570 and trying to figure out what the new Pro Edition is. And maybe it's just curious to see that, hey, you're considering an F570 and you've seen both versions. So we're going to cover that. I'm going to have George here in just a minute, flip to the next slide on the PowerPoint, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Perfect. So we kind of just covered this here. This is, again, we're just going to go over the F570, the new PE. Jackie's going to cover some sublimation blanks, and then we'll get started. We'll go ahead and flip to the next slide. Okay. So there's been a lot of buzz around the F570 and the new PE version versus the SE. I get calls about it all the time. Really, there's a couple key areas on this. First and foremost, I want to start out, if you have an F570 today, there's nothing different with the PE printer as far as the printer goes versus the SE. The printer is exactly the same. There has been slight modifications within the Epson Edge Print software, which now they are calling the Pro Edition. So we're going to cover some of those right here. We're going to flip through the side. Go ahead to the next one. Okay, one of the biggest things. So this stems from if you're using the Epson Edge Rip now, if you've noticed in the past, if you're sending over your artwork as a PDF, and really that's what this all centers around. If you're doing it as a PNG file or something along those lines, you would have not noticed these changes. So one of the biggest things that we went over, the Epson changed in the Pro Rip, was going from an 8-bit color to a 16-bit color. Basically, like you see there in the slide is the best example. You're going to get smoother gradients coming over when you're bringing in your artwork from Adobe or as a PDF. You're going to have smoother gradients because you're going from a 16-bit or from an 8-bit to a 16-bit. Okay, pretty simple, straightforward there. You can hit me with the next slide.
So Steve, I have a question.
Yes.
So with the previous software, that was compatible with a PC. Is that going to be the same for this software as well?
Yes,
Like
all your RIP software when you're in a RIP is going to be PC based. Now, if you're not using Epson Edge Rip, you can still use the Epson F570 on a Mac. So you just your standard driver. So if you're bypassing the RIP software completely, you can use that on a Mac. The RIP software has a lot of nice tools in it. Okay, so I recommend checking it out just to see if there's any benefits to you if you like that, or if it's not and you're happy with what you're seeing, you can stick with that. So however you're doing it today, you can continue to do it. But if you're new to this, I would recommend using the RIP. Okay. All right. Right here, the third one. Did we skip one? I think we did. No, we did not. Okay. basically here, the anti-aliasing, I'm saying that wrong probably, I always do, but essentially that's trying to mimic your, I guess I could say your raster artwork, like photography, to be more like vector artwork in the sense where raster artwork is based upon pixels, and so you can only stretch it so much before you get pixelated, where your vector artwork is not a pixel base, so it gives you a finer or a smoother edge, so you don't see that in your artwork. So that is another addition into the EdgeRip Pro software for the Epson F570.
So yeah, there are tons of benefits to the new software. And the good thing is, just like with the old model, we do have all of the inks, the papers, everything you need to keep that machine running. And of course, we have our support team as well that can help you get started and set up with your new machine and the new software.
Yeah, and one of the other things here, just coming over, sorry, Jackie, coming over is when you bring in your artwork to that, here's an example from the design software here. This is an example without the Adobe PDF print engine that they added into the Epson EdgeRip software. You can see it there. Your transparency effects sometimes would not carry over when you're using a PDF. So you can see the first design where we have that pink gradient there, and then we have the color knocked out there on the SureColor 10. So that's going to ensure too, when you're bringing over your artwork as a PDF, that is transferring over on your transparency effects too. Okay, pretty simple. There's not been a lot of major changes, and some customers may not experience some of this. Again, it's strictly based upon a PDF. And I want to touch too, if you're using your F570, some customers say, hey, do we upgrade? Do we do this? Is the Edge Print available to purchase? And it's not. And I wouldn't recommend doing it. There's other softwares out there from a RIP standpoint, like CADlink's Digital Factory for Sublimation, that if you really wanted to change or were experiencing some issues, it would make sense for you to take a look at something like that versus upgrading your printer, because you're not going to get any changes in the printer. And for these software changes, there's other options available that I think would be beneficial and would save you a lot of money. So we have options. If you have questions and you're using an Epson F570 today and you're concerned about that, just give us a call, give me a call. We can help work through that and show you some options. So that covers everything about software.
Yeah. I think another question people might have is, so if they're using maybe a printer that they've converted today, or maybe a Sawgrass or something that has a smaller print capabilities, this would be a good printer as far as it's going to give you the larger print capability. So you can do the 17-inch rolls or the 24-inch roll paper with this printer, correct? So it's going to give you that capability.
And if you're using, let's talk about that real quick. If you know, I'm expand on that. If you're doing a converted sublimation printer, a lot of people love it and a lot of people hate it. It just really depends on where you're at. What you're really going to get by going with a true sublimation printer is support. You're going to get manufacturer support, a year warranty with Epson. You can add an additional year. You get free lifetime support through us. The life of your printer will help you install it. It's going to make your life a lot easier. And then your cost of your ink on the Epson F570 is so inexpensive. Again, it's very affordable to maintain and use, and especially from a size standpoint, moving into the roll print. Again, this is Epson's first step into like a commercial sublimation printer as far as an entry level. And that 24-inch roll really makes a big difference from a production standpoint. So if you're doing longer runs, it's a great opportunity to step into that.
Hey, Steve, we had a question. A lot of questions coming in. Our team is answering in the background about Mac and PC. Is there software you recommend for the Mac then?
Well,
RIP type of software.
None of the RIPs that I know of, and I'm sure there could be one out there that has profiles for the Epson F570, are going to work on a Mac. And that's across any technology that I'm familiar with. What you could do is there's third-party programs available for your Mac, like, again, I'm not endorsing this. Parallels would be one where you can dual boot Windows and float between the two. But really, if you're going to be using a RIP, they're always PC based. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of the beast. And I like the RIP softwares. It's just you're going to have to use a PC or dual boot your Mac with Windows with a program like Parallels. So There's other ones out there. Again, I'm not endorsing one over the other. I just know that customers use that. So that's one thing to look into.
Yeah, so I think to kind of capture the full capability of that RIP software, you'll want to use your PC.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that there's not people who have used a Mac successfully. It just
Yeah.
depends on.
And again, you don't need a crazy high-end PC to run the RIP software. Obviously you're going to have a nice computer if you're doing graphics and you're designing on your own, but you don't have to have a crazy expensive PC. And as inexpensive as they are now, you can really add one of those for a couple $100, probably $300 to $400, and you'd probably be fine with running the RIP software from that. So,
Yeah.
All right, what do we got next? Jackie, blinks. Let's talk about
So-
sublimation blinks.
If you decide, or maybe you're using the Epson today, or maybe you're using that converted Epson and you're thinking, okay, maybe it's time to go a little bit bigger. We're in a new year. It's time to upgrade. We carry a ton of sublimation ready blanks that have been tested and are going to work with your sublimation printer. And the great thing is too, you're going to be able to find them on our website and see how many we have in stock. So I know I've got little hearts on my shirt today. I can't say, I don't know if you can tell us what they are, but Valentine's Day is around the corner. So maybe you're taking Valentine's Day orders, and you're going to need 25 items. You'll be able to see on the website if that's something that we can support. So some new things I'm super excited about are, these are actually sublimation ready pillows. It's a kind of faux leather material. They come in 3 different colors. This specific color is SFLP-C03. And again, this is for sublimation. And we even carry the inserts for the pillows as well. So if you need those, they have a little zipper closure there. So it makes it easy to press. So I love these. I think they're super trendy, great for home decor, gifts, great option there.
And with those, that doesn't come with the filling, correct? Those,
Correct.
you
So
can-
yeah, so you'll buy the pillow covers separately. So these are sold separately, but if you need the pillow covers, we carry them on our site as well. They'll just be a separate purchase. Good question. Now, another thing that's been really popular have been blankets. So we have this one mocked up here. This is our Terrytown Sherpa lined blanket. It's really, really soft, nice baby blanket. So now that you have that bigger
I wish they had an
capability,
adult size of that, right?
it's a great blanket.
I'd
Steve
cuddle up in
wants
that.
one.
I do.
So now that you have a bigger print capability, this is something that you can achieve without having to, I don't know if you've ever had to tape together transfers.
Yeah,
Steve,
I
do
mean,
something like
obviously,
this?
I see a lot of folks who buy the F570 and you're using a smaller press. So some of you may be, piecing this together, and this one you could split up in 2, but if you get into this larger format, you can always get into larger format heat presses too, which we can help you with. But depending on how you do your artwork, you can do it in sections and piece it together. You just got to watch how that all blends so you don't get any ghosting on the artwork.
Mhm. So again, this is for sublimation. So this has been sublimated. I believe you can also use heat transfer on this, but sublimation is going to be a great option because of the durability. So love this blanket. We also have a lot of other blankets as well. If you are looking for a bigger blanket like Steve was looking for, we do carry those too that are sublimation ready. Okay, so blankets have been huge. We also carry, as a reminder, everything that you need for your printer. So if you purchase your Epson F570, the Pro version, it's going to come with the inks and papers that you need. We also carry Johnson Plastics Plus paper in the cut sheets. I love this paper. I know I've talked to a lot of customers who are maybe using another internet brand or something like that, and we've actually found this is a little bit less expensive. And I've done a comparison, and it's even a little bit brighter than that internet brand paper. So just something to think about. And we do have rewards. So if you are purchasing on the website, you'll basically get dollars back for purchasing if you are registered with JPP Rewards. So just wanted to put a plug in for that. Anything to add on the paper, Steve?
Not necessarily on the paper, I speak to a lot of people as you're getting started into sublimation and you're I understand being very cost conscious, if I can talk, about your blanks and so forth. But really, I want to stress one of the things that we do here for you is we source the best sublimation blanks for you. I know a lot of folks will go out and search for far corners of things and end up purchasing it at different places, but we are providing tech tips and testing for you and really making sure that when you get this blank that it's going to work for you. And we've got tech tips and templates on our website so that you're not buying stuff from somewhere it's not designed for sublimation and you're wasting your time and your money on things to save a few dollars. So keep that in mind. We've got good quality product here for you that we've gone through and sourced with the right vendors and make sure we're providing good quality items for you. And also with paper, make sure when you find a good paper, you stick with that paper because that's a variable with sublimation we talk about. And our paper, we've tested through all our machines and we know it's going to work for you and it's going to work well.
So. I think, do we have a question, George?
Yeah, and Steve, just to close the loop on the RIP software, because we did have a couple folks saying.
I really threw that for a wrench.
But we had, I think it was Roxanne, who had a great point that she prints directly from Photoshop and Affinity Photo and gets really good results. You don't need the RIP software with this. It helps, but
if you're happy with your prints and you're not having any issues, stick with what you're doing. I'm not saying change that. I find most folks probably on the F570 don't necessarily need the RIP software. And the Edge Print is a RIP software, but it's not as in-depth as a lot of RIPs out there. So you don't have to get lost in all these features that you think you might be missing. You're not. It's just Epson came out with this and they decided to call it a Pro Edition and add some features, but not change anything with the printer. They are nice features, but honestly, we didn't get a lot of tech calls about this and we take them all day long, our team does. So again, if you're happy with your printer today and you're not having issues, don't change anything. If you decide you are or you're concerned about that, give us a call and I'll talk through you with it. But if you're in the market for the F570, the PE is a great machine. The F570 in general is a great machine. And again, the printer is the same. It's only a software change. If you currently have an F570 and you're looking for a different RIP or you want to understand more about that, call me and I'll walk you through your options. Okay.
Or I know I have a lot of customers who maybe they started with an F570 and grew their business and now it might be time to add in another printer. So this is a great machine to do that with. So I do have a couple more blanks to cover. So with sublimation, I know, obviously we like to make money in our businesses. So one thing that you can really add value with your customers are personalized photos. So this is our sublimated Chromolux panel. And we used actually some of our standoffs. These are just glued on here, since if you don't have the capability to drill into the metal. But this is a really awesome way to utilize this material. And again, like Steve said, these are sublimation ready. There's information and tech tips on our website that tell you how long to press, what temperatures to start out. So it really saves yourself time in your day figuring out how to use a new blank. So I love this material. These aren't exterior, but we do carry some Chromolux EXT that's for outdoors. So maybe you have businesses that are looking for signage, that need something for outdoors. There are even some different textures. So there's a lot of variety in what we can offer for photo panels. Another item that I love
We're both having trouble
I can't talk today. We have bath towels or beach towels. So this, I believe, is a 30 by 60 and sublimation ready. So great for maybe you have customers that are looking for, I know there are some winter graduates, maybe they need some new towels for their new place or something like that. Love these, or even new baby blankets or baby towels. So these are sublimation ready, super soft. They have kind of the velour feel on one side and a little bit more terry cloth on the inside. So I love these.
They are nice.
Yeah.
In our last webinar, I had a blooper and I called that a baby blanket. So it is a towel.
Yes,
okay?
This is a towel. I don't know about you, but I would like to get one for myself because it's cold and snowy where we are and I'm ready to go to the beach. So
no kidding.
We also have drinkware is a huge item. If you're not doing drinkware now, get into drinkware. We carry, these are the 30-ounce skinny tumblers. I know the 20-ounce skinny tumblers we had, we could hardly keep them on the shelves last year. They're super big sellers. They come with the lid and the straw. And then we also carry the shrink sleeves in the size that you need for the 30-ounce tumblers. We also have, if you need a convection oven, so that's what you would use for the shrink sleeve, we carry convection ovens. And then other drinkware items, we have a ton of options for presses that Steve can talk about.
Yeah, as far as your options on mug presses, you have our JP 450 that comes standard with 4 different attachments. It'll do your 11-ounce and your 15-ounce mugs, your lattes. You can purchase the tumblers for the 20-ounce. This 30-ounce, you're going to want to do in a convection oven. And these shrink wrap sleeves are awesome. It just makes your life easier, and making sure if you're trying to get that all over design on this, it's really convenient. And we carry the Hicks brand of the sublimation convection ovens. That's more of a commercial style, but I mean, if you're doing enough volume, it's going to make sense. Where you can stop out at your big box store and pick up a convection oven. Just don't use the same one you're making your Totino pizza
Yes.
rolls and using your sublimation mug. So
Yeah, those things
Okay.
be separate for sure.
George, questions?
Yeah, before I get to the question, I'm going to make a quick plug since you were talking about the drinkware. There's a great video on our YouTube channel where Steve shows you how
Oh,
to
yeah,
use
yeah.
the shrink wraps
Yep.
on the skinny tumbler. So if you're new to that, want to check that out, got a bunch of videos on our YouTube channel. So
Yeah, absolutely.
put that plug in. The second, the question I had, really more of a comment that we've had come in. A lot of folks have been commenting about the low cost of the Epson inks. And I don't know, Steve, if you want to touch on that, or if you guys can touch on that just real quick as it relates to the F570.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want me to cover? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're both refill ink. They're super easy to refill, and I think they're around the $20 mark
Yeah.
to refill. So especially if you're upgrading from a Sawgrass, which is a great printer, and you're going to get great results with both. But that's going to be really save you a lot on your ink costs. So definitely a moneymaker adding that in.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat the cost of the ink on the Epson F570. They've made it so inexpensive, you don't want to use any other ink in it. That's the other question I get too. Can I use third-party inks? Well, you probably could, but you're going to void your warranty on your print head through Epson. And with the price of these inks, it's super inexpensive. You're talking pennies. I mean, when you're doing this, it is going to be the least amount of cost involved in the whole process when you're looking at your paper, your labor, your blank. I mean, ink is going to be the least the cost. Not that you don't need to keep track of it, but it's
I think I had a customer who bought an F570 with me, and she said, I wish I would have done this 3 months ago. So you'll make your money back pretty quickly with the Epson. So I just have one more blank, and then we probably can move on to Steve's demo. So you can see a press from the new F570 Pro. So these are our hardboard 12-inch rounds. I love these. They don't have anything on the back, so you can kind of take it and make it whatever you want it to be. I know I have some people who use these for wreaths or door hangers, so a lot of really great options. But as you can see, it's the sublimation hardboard, gives you a really pretty bright image with sublimation.
That stuff looks so good.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that comes through.
I don't know if it can, I don't know if this does it justice, but
I was trying to stay out of the webinar today.
so really bright, vibrant colors on that blank.
And again, this stuff, if you're looking at printed from the F570, so you can see color quality is second to none. It's great.
Well, and if this is something that you have in your shop, if you have that bigger print capability, you can increase your production speed, which time is money. We all know that. It can make you more money by getting that bigger print capability. So great option to add to your shop. I know another thing people are always doing and thinking about is apparel. So Steve is going to do a demo with our Vapor Apparel shirt.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do it.
If you're ready.
Yep. George, fire away on a question.
Yeah, question someone asked, and I think I've got the answer for this one. Hey, I'm useful today. The video that we show on our YouTube channel shows you using the shrink sleeves, but we do have the attachment now for the JP450 for the 20-ounce skinny tumbler.
Yeah, and you can use that too. That's great too. So if you have a JP450 or want to buy a JP450 on the 20-ounce, you can do that. The 30-ounce I was talking about earlier, you'll want to use a shrink wrap sleeve. But yeah, you can for sure use it on the 20-ounce, and it's great for those. So the JP450 is a nice, versatile heat press, and the price point, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, you can do shot glasses, latte mugs, regular mugs, the skinny tumbler attachment.
And
A lot
we're
of
working on an
capability.
attachment for the 30-ounce
Yes.
skinny tumbler, hopefully soon.
Yeah. Yep.
Thanks.
Okay, let's talk apparel real quick. I'm gonna do a demo. I get this question a lot for those of you who are new to sublimation looking into it. And I know a lot of folks right now are using F570s to do all over sublimation. And I've seen it done, you can do it. It's tough. I'm not gonna do all over sublimation today. I'm just gonna do a basic image here, a large image. But I get a lot of customers who purchase an F570, start piecing together all over sublimation. I've seen some of the YouTube videos, and props to you guys that are doing that. I know that's not easy. So you're able to get that larger print. When you get into that size all over, ideally the F570 is not where you start with all over prints. I know a lot of folks do, and then just from a budgetary standpoint, I get that. But you would want to get into the Epson 44-inch for those items. But I want to talk to you about just doing a T-shirt like this, and we've got an image here, and I get a lot of questions about what type of apparel works best and how much poly do I have to have and so forth. So we on our website sell Vapor, and Vapor is a premium brand for sublimation apparel. We have a variety of colors. This is an adult size XL, white. When you're looking at apparel, you're going to need to stick with white and light colors, okay? And the higher, to get bright and vibrant, obviously you want 100% polyester, because remember, it's not going to stick with cotton, okay? It's gonna come out. When you're doing blends, there's some nice shirts out there that have blends that have a higher count. So if it's like 65% poly, keep in mind, only 65% of your ink is going to dye into that fabric. The rest is gonna be lost. So keep in mind when you're doing your apparel to understand that, because your design's gonna look more, I call it like vintage, which is cool. It's gonna look great still, but you gotta make sure you're setting the right expectations.
Yeah, and I just want to put a plug in again, as we had mentioned before, the nice thing about purchasing a Vapor shirt or something that's listed on our website for sublimation, you're going to get a really bright print. It's made for sublimation, and we have more than just t-shirts. We have cute little dog shirts. We have a lot of little toddler shirts, sun shirts, a lot of options for apparel beyond just shirts,
Oh,
but
good.
t-shirts are a huge option. So we'll let Steve do the demo. So this we printed from the F570 Pro, and he's gonna take the
We'll go
lint
over,
roller.
yeah, the step-by-step here. Sorry, I just have to get off the old lint off of this first before I do
Well,
that.
while he's doing that, I'll talk a little bit about the press he's using. So this is the Stahls, the Fusion IQ. This is probably one of my favorite presses we sell, because today he's using the flat platen, but it's a really versatile press because you can interchange the platens. There are ones that you could do shoes on. There's a cap press, correct?
Not for
Yes.
this one. There is a cap press from Stahls that you can get, but for these platens, you have different sizes that you could interchange. They're all on our website too.
Yeah. So this is an awesome press. There's a digital readout, and if you're doing a lot of apparel, the drawer is really awesome. Saves you time and your fingers from the risk of being burned, because you can pull that drawer out, which is really, really helpful, especially if you're moving quickly in the shop. Safety first.
Yeah, exactly. You burn yourself once or twice. You don't want to do that too often. I want to touch on real quick, again, just talking about equipment real quick with the heat presses. I know a lot of folks, budgetary wise, sometimes you're getting started on this. It's hard to say, okay, you're so focused on the printer, do not forget your press.
Mm-hmm.
All heat presses are not created equal. Your inexpensive Amazon presses, your cheap Chinese presses, they are not good. They will cause you more headache, lost time. They may work good for a while, and then that's it. I mean, I take from tech calls we get all the time. That's a big thing. So think about that. The Stahls, we carry the American-made heat presses. They are top of the line. We carry Hicks, we carry Stahls, we carry Insta, and we carry Geonite. You can't go wrong with any of those presses.
Mm-hmm.
They will last you for years to come.
Yeah.
And it's going to save you a lot of time and money and headache. Okay. This press, go ahead.
Hey Steve, we did have one
Oh,
question.
yes.
A customer is asking why you aren't threading your shirt for your demo.
Oh yeah, you can thread. I don't, because I'm not doing a lot of shirts. I've always, even when I do demos on the white toner transfer printers, and I'm at trade shows and I'm busting them out, I just don't. That's a personal preference. You can thread this for sure, and that's one of the things that make it nice. The biggest thing is getting off the collars or the thicker seams so that you don't have uneven pressure. Whether you thread it or not thread it is irrelevant at that point. You may want to thread it if you've already pressed a transfer or something on the back that you don't want it to have direct contact with the heat platen again, then you would want to thread it. Since I don't have anything on this, it's fine. I mean, the back is blank. I just throw this on because it's easier. One of the other things, go ahead, Jackie.
Oh, I just was gonna say, kind of speaking of that, bleed through and those other issues you might have, I just want to point out too that we carry things like the blowout paper or the Teflon sheets that you need to get started. And if you ever have questions, you have your representative there to help you. You have our customer service team, our support team that is there to support you. Where as if, maybe you purchased your heat press off of Amazon or something like that, you're not going to have that support that you get with us. So just wanted to point that out before we start the demo.
Thank you. Let's talk about the process with shirts. There's a lot of ways you could do shirts, and the way I'm going to do this shirt may not be how you're currently doing it today. And if it's working for you, that's fine. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. This is just Steve's recommendation and how I've done it. First and foremost, any of you know that's doing fabric, you all in sublimation, you always want to give the lint roll. We have this thing that everybody, if you experience once called the blue meanies, it's those fibers that are loose that end up getting sublimation ink and they come up blue. So unless you're rolling your shirt pre-press, you're going to get those. So make sure you go over it well and get those out. I also like to do a pre-press on my shirts to draw out any moisture, any wrinkles, and make sure that it's all good to go. Now I'm really rolling this out here.
They gave you
Okay.
quite a big lint roller there.
I know. Can we talk about how small this thing is? Goodness gracious. These guys think they're funny. Okay, so I've got this on here. You can get attachments like this. Stalls makes a laser light that will help you line up your shirt. Again, since if I worked in your shop, you may fire me, but I'm not here to sell this again. So I've just got this on here to show you how it goes. But I'm gonna give this a pre-press. I'm also at this time gonna adjust my pressure or start to adjust my pressure. Now I'm going to be using a foam pad, a vapor foam pad, the vapor kit on our website. That's another way to do that. Some folks use pressing pillows. Some will feather the edge of the paper. I like doing that too. That works for me. But I'm just going to bring this down on here and just kind of let this come in here and just get out any excess moisture. It's pretty dry, but just in the summertime or if you're in a high humidity climate, that's something you want to be cautious of. Okay. Now the foam, you can, what you want to do is you want to thread this underneath of the shirt. So I'm going to pop this open here and I'm going to slide this in. And again, this kit is available on our website.
And I believe that kit, the starter kit has a couple vapor shirts in it as well for you to test out so you can really try them out and see the difference of using a sublimation specific shirt than maybe a poly blend that you've been using in the past. So it's a great kit to start with if you're just kind of starting out with apparel. It's a great option.
And you could also do this just from the bottom if you wanted to just lay the shirt over it. Some folks thread it in the shirt, so whatever your preference is.
Hey, Steve,
Yes.
I got a question. What was the paper used to print that out on?
That is the sublimation paper from Epson for the F570. So that is Epson's branded paper in the 24-inch. Now, when you do this, you want to make sure that if you're using a foam kit, you want to make sure, and I always explain this backwards, you want the foam as large as your design, but smaller than your paper, so that the edges hang off. Okay, because what happens, you get press lines in your shirt and these edges. Now, when I talked about feathering the edges, someone's like, what does that mean? You can take your edge and I just work it down and I tear it like this. Because what that does is when you tear that edge, that creates a soft edge because that hard edge on the paper is no longer there. So you can do that and that'll help too. It's just kind of an extra step that you can take. And I like doing this. One of the other things that you can do too is I'm going to use a little bit of sublimation tape, but you can use spray adhesive. Okay, so on larger printers they have tacky paper, like on the 44-inch, but you can use a spray adhesive too, so your paper tacks and it doesn't move. you would just lightly spray your transfer before you put it on the paper, and then you can, that way it doesn't move. And then as it heats, it tacks, but it doesn't cause any issues with your page. Now this one's kind of
Yeah, but
tight
just
at
to
the bottom.
confirm for the Epson, for the Pro, there's no tacky paper for that,
No.
correct?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, no tacky paper for the Pro, but
That's why
like-
you'd use the spray.
adhesive. But
Yeah.
if you, like Steve said, if you're upgrading into a bigger printer, that tacky paper's there. If you're maybe doing a ton of shirts and you think maybe a 44-inch is something that I need, that's something to think about too. It'll save you some time with that tacky paper.
All right, so I've got some thermal tape here that we sell on our website, this brown thermal tape. This works really nice, so I'm just gonna just lightly put down on these sides.
Yeah, I like the thermal tape because it's a little bit thinner than the other tape for when you do the press.
Yep. I'm
But
just
everybody
lightly
has their
putting this in.
preference.
Okay, now blowout paper Jackie talked about, we sell this in 16 by 20. This is nice. I mean, you could use whatever you want, but I like this because it's already cut to the size of your platen on your heat press. And again, sublimation in gases. So when that gas comes up, it's got to catch something. If you don't clean off your platen occasionally, you're going to get residual sublimation ink. You'll notice that, like if you're doing metals or something like that, or the next thing you know on your shirt, you've got, you know, some blotchy, ugly colors because your platen's not clean.
Yes,
So
so definitely get blowout paper because it's gonna protect your investment of the heat press that you've made.
for sure,
Yeah,
it's worth it.
definitely.
Okay, so I've got a Teflon sheet on the bottom, I've got my foam sheet in there, I've got my transfer on there, I've got my blowout paper. I've went and I've adjusted my pressure. Now, when I put this down, you don't need to do like crazy firm pressure and come down on it. I'm gonna compress the foam pad about half the width because too much pressure sometimes can cause an issue with that. So, okay, I got my press set to 390, between 385, 390. 30 to 40 seconds. I've got this set at 35. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to bring this back underneath here like that. Excuse me as I cough. And then I'm going to see where my pressure is. Now I'm kind of adjusting this as I go, and that's okay. Backing it off here.
And I don't know if you can see on the screen, but another thing I love about this press is that digital readout screen. Super helpful.
Yeah, you've got your time and your temperature and your pressure on here. And sometimes as you do this, it takes a minute to get things dialed in. You might goof up one or two shirts, get this pressure dialed in. So, you know, if it doesn't come out right the first time, just adjust your pressure accordingly so you get that light out. Sometimes having a scrap piece of fabric or shirts that you've messed up to do that initially and make sure your press is right, that's a good thing to have because then you've got those test samples. So on this example, if I mess up, maybe my pressure was a little bit off there. George, go ahead.
Quick question, somebody asked, can you reuse the blowout paper?
Yeah, you can use blowout paper over and over as long as it's not causing the issues with your blank. So you could see on this blowout paper, well, maybe not. I've got the image coming through on this blowout paper. So as long as it doesn't, you know, cause an issue on your next substrate, yeah, you can use it again. All right, so I've got it here. Let me just back off my tape. Oh, that looks good. So here we go. So again, I'm done with that. And here's my image. Grab this. Okay, let's come up here so you guys can see that. And then there you go. Boom, look how great that looks.
Yeah, I don't think the video does it justice, but it's really bright. Those colors are really bright.
And you've got no press lines, no press lines.
Another thing I don't think we mentioned was Teflon sheets. Those are something we carry
yes.
as well.
Yep, we carry the
So-
wraps and then these sheets like this, okay? And these could just be cleaned with like isopropyl alcohol is the best way to do it. What other questions we have? Anything we haven't answered yet?
I think Grace has got one, she's making her way over here.
Okay.
Steve, can you repeat what the time and temp and pressure was that you used?
Yes, so I used 390 for 30 to 40 seconds. I used 35 on that. Pressure, super light. With shirts, you don't have to, the apparel, you don't have to use a high pressure. When you're using the foam, you want to compress the foam half its width, okay? If you come down on that super hard and you have foam in there, again, you're going to get hard press lines. So if any of you have done apparel and see press lines, you're like, what the heck's going on? Too much pressure, okay? Use the foam pad in the middle or underneath of it, compress it half its width, adjust this. Again, practice with an old shirt or a piece of fabric so that you've got that laid out, because if you've gone from a hard surface item to a soft surface or a soft good item, it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, and then again, the nice thing about if you purchase your sublimation blanks through JPP, on jpplus.com, every time you purchase a blank under the tech docs and downloads, there'll be a document that gives you step-by-step instructions on how to press that and what the pressure, temperature, and kind of gives you a jumping off point for those items and for that specific blank. Any other questions, George, Grace? Anything we didn't cover?
I don't think we're forgetting anything, but if we did, let us know.
No, just wanted to give a quick plug for our Valentine's Day gift guide that we have on our website.
Yes,
So,
and we
Go
did
ahead.
forget something. We do have a giveaway.
oh, we're getting
Don't
there.
we?
I'm gonna pull up the PowerPoint for you, Stephen. You can
So,
talk about. the
Before
reward.
we get to what the giveaway is, I want to talk a little bit about our rewards program. So we have a rewards program that is our JPP rewards. There's a little blue button in the upper right-hand corner of the website. So when you register for that under your online account, when you make purchases on the website for consumables, so that includes things like our apparel or the pillow covers or drinkware, you get $1. Every $1 you spend, you get a point. That doesn't exclude toners and equipment, but if you purchase equipment, you would get your JPP bucks that are shown under that same login. So our giveaway is, are we ready, George?
I think so.
Okay.
So, allow me to say, if you haven't already, we read your name, go onto our website at jpplus.com and sign up for your rewards account. It's completely free.
Yes.
No cost, just takes a few clicks to set that up, because these 5 folks are each going to get $25 in JPP bucks deposited right into their account. So you don't have to do anything. You just got to set up the account. And if you've got one already, we'll put it in there. But if you don't, please
Yep.
go ahead and create one. So here are our 5 winners. Do you want me to read them? You want to read them?
Do it.
I think this is for you, George.
Okay.
We'll give you the glory.
Thanks. Okay. So Roxanne Benton, congratulations. Car Taliaferro, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Taliaferro, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong.
Could be.
Car, you won $25. Tina Means, Daniel Kahn, and Ronnie Miko. Ronnie, I think that's how you pronounce it. Look, I didn't get a chance to practice these ahead
I'm
of time. 'cause
terrible at pronouncing
We
names. I get it.
randomly,
That's why I said,
drew
George,
them.
you can
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. There's a reason I'm not doing radio anymore. It's because of this side of thing. But those 5 folks, congratulations. So Roxanne, Carr, Tina, Daniel, and Ronnie, you have won $25. So please, if you haven't already, those 5 folks, please make it a rewards account. And if you haven't and you didn't win, make a rewards account because you're missing out.
Yeah,
It's
we're
free.
basically paying you to spend money, so hop on there and log in. Do we have any other questions before we close out?
All right.
I don't
I
think
think we are
so.
good. Thank you, guys.
All right, well, thanks for the demo, Steve.
Yeah, thank
I'm
you very
Jackie.
much.
If you guys have any questions, let us know. And you can find this and any other webinars you may have missed in the past at jpplus.com.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.